Hey, the video I did the other day, I talked about helping somebody get a situation set up in their house where they could help their dog learn how to go potty train. And I got a few questions about that, so I'm going to make a more comprehensive video to try and help somebody who's thinking about getting a puppy. This is what I would do if I was getting a dog or a puppy, uh, from pretty much how I would set myself up and set the dog up to have success right out of the gate with no drama or unnecessary roller coaster kind of stuff. This is my cat, and she's going to be chilling while we talk today. Let's say, for instance, I found a dog I want to get, and for the sake of helping you guys, we're going to handle it like the dog is completely not housebroken at all. So, let's say, for instance, I'm going to get a puppy. The first thing I would do before I got the dog is set myself up to have success right away. Like, meaning, like, when I come home with that dog, I don't want to have to be dealing with any logistical elements of how to situate things that will detract from my attention that I'm giving the dog during that initial introduction period. Plus, I want to relax and enjoy myself instead of being all like stressed out about details. So, I would set up a spot. I would put what I would really recommend people to do is like get some kind of those crate barrier things, which are like more like a playpen. It's like several individual panels that you can arrange to create a boundary, much like a playpen. So what I would do is like inside my front door, in an area that's like going to be where I'm at, like kitchen, living room area, but not super far from the front door. Or maybe if you have like a sliding glass door in your living room that's like next to your kitchen where you guys hang out a lot, I would put this like playpen thing by the sliding glass door and use that door. The goal is that you want to set the area up where you're going to be, like where you spend your time when you're home, and you want to make as clear of a path to a door as possible. So this will enable you to handle situations where you need to teach the dog to go outside really quick. You don't want to like be upstairs in the bedroom and have to, get the dog to run all the way down the steps and through the dining room to get outside. Make it so that it's like where you're going to be and also accessible to a door. If you have any concern about your flooring, just stop by a hardware store and pick up that plastic stuff that they use when they're going to paint the inside of your house and put a sheet of that down and then put the boundary around that. And I would recommend making the boundary kind of big but not huge, like maybe like 5 by 8 or 6 by 8 or something. Enough where the dog can move around freely and stuff, but not this like huge expansive area where it's like able to get into stuff. You want it to be real contained, and you don't want it to have access to things that could hurt it, like a power cord or something that if it decided to chew, So set it up for safety. In this area, you want to put like we just mentioned, make sure your floors are safe. If you put some blankets down, you know, make them so that they're not your favorite blankets, where if the dog goes potty on it, that you're not going to have a mental breakdown. Even just use towels, or you could put towels around, or whatever you want to do. I would put a closing crate in this area, but just leave the door open. Put a nice cozy bed inside that crate, and then have food and a water bowl there. I'm not big on free feeding. That's another video, but nonetheless, that's where the food bowl will be. It doesn't have to be full, but put a food bowl and a full water bowl there. Dogs always have access to water. I use the food for meal times because I don't want. There's a lot of reasons why. I'll make a whole nother video why it's beneficial to only feed your dog in stages for their own health, but always have access to water for any animal. So now that you got your space set up and you've like planned ahead, like, okay, when I bring the dog home, we're going to put him in here, then you've already done a lot of the logistics so that you can now enjoy yourself. So that's the next day you bring the dog home. Here's where people make a big mistake. You do the dog the best favor by making its world real understandable. Like, you don't want to just turn the dog loose in the house and, oh, where's the dog? Oh, wait, I thought he ran upstairs. Wait, go get him. Oh, wait, now he ran back downstairs. It's like, that's cool and it's super cute, but just focus on, like, building it from the center outwards. Like, yeah, one day the dog will run, or, a couple weeks, whenever, but not today. Like, give the dog a chance to, like, really get familiar from the core outwards. Meaning, like, set yourself up in a nice little spot with the dog so that when you come home, you can take it out in the yard, play, sniff around, walk around the house, walk around the block. I mean, I don't take puppies on like hikes, but just interact with the dog and enjoy it. And I have other videos about how to mark potty behavior outside so that you can immediately start to build a positive association, with the dog. I would be having the dog on a leash for safety. Even if your yard is fenced, you don't want your dog off exploring random things while you guys sit around and say, oh, look how cute he is. I mean, yeah, you can do that, but it's much better for you and the dog to experience it together. If the dog wants to go explore that corner of the yard, go with it, and be like, oh, what's that? Oh, like, oh, let me see what you got. Let me, give me, or be with the dog. Don't just like sit on the porch like drinking your iced tea and being like, look how, oh, look, he ran over there. That's cool, but that's not what I would do. And the more that you are hands on with your dog, like just you and the dog experiencing all this new stuff together, and they can like look at you and then look at that, like it's gonna be way better. So when it's time to go inside, bring the dog inside and put it right inside that playpen. And then don't like disappear on it. Just like go in the kitchen and start doing your thing. Sit down at the dining room table and check your emails, whatever you gotta do. But the dog's right there and you're able to interact with it. I wouldn't get in the habit of using a whole bunch of sound right off the bat. Like, let there be silence. Let the dog abide in your presence without the need to, like, talk to it the whole time. It'll help the dog use its own senses to start to, like, figure out, the flow of energy through this area and how things roll and whose voice sounds like what. and how you guys communicate with each other, or if you live alone, like what are your smells, like what's your vibe, just like don't be afraid of silence. It's actually like a more powerful form of communication with a new dog. Like, so she's trying to curl up in a way that's like making me have to put more and more support on where I'm holding her. She's a sweet cat. I love her very much. So, getting a cat is kind of the opposite of getting a dog, meaning like most of the time you plan a lot to get a dog, and most of the time cats just kind of show up, and that's how she got here. But I still handled it the same way. Um, she was like a feral wild animal, so for the first stages of her living at my house, I built a house for her outside on the porch that had, a heater and a blankets and all everything she would need. Cause I didn't want her to come inside just yet. Plus, she was like a wild animal. She was like the kind of cat that would come inside and immediately start like just all being about where's my escape route. Like it wasn't enjoyable for her to come inside at that point, and it wasn't enjoyable for me at all. I'm kind of like a neat freak, so I didn't want her just like running all over everything and climbing on stuff. So for the first couple years, she actually really enjoyed being outside. I would let her in to sit on my lap and then put her back out. She would like want to scratch at the door to get back out because she liked that freedom. And so she had her little house. It had a heater. It was real nice, and it was cool. It was like a sliding glass door, so I could like sit in my chair and read, and she would be right there, and we would have visual contact. So it was pretty cool. But what happened once she got sick, she got this disease where I had to get all of her teeth taken out by the vet. And once that happened, and she was older now, and so now she's like inside only cat. But because we've interacted and she knows the vibe and boundaries, believe it or not, you can train a cat too. It's different than a dog. It's not as obedience oriented as a dog, but cats are entirely trainable. And by training a cat, if you think your dog is hard to train a cat, and then your dog will be like, yeah, easy. So, but yeah, she's real respectful of my boundaries. Like she doesn't climb on my desk. She doesn't go on my bed. Like if I snap my fingers and point and say go lay down, she'll go right into her bed and lay down. So it's like we have this cooperative communication, and that's what I want you to start focusing on building with your new puppy right away, so that you don't have to be calling up a dog trainer in 6 months being like, why is my dog, doing all this ridiculous behavior? Let's start from the beginning and do it right. So, regarding potty training, in this context where you have the the area set up for your dog, but it's like real contained, but it's not separate from you. One thing that I'll do, and this is how I roll with like even when I'll do a board. I don't do as many boards anymore, board and trains. But when I will get a dog in that was like totally freaked out and just like not comfortable in the new environment, like having all this separation anxiety from its owners and such, I don't believe in giving dogs like free run in the house to comfort them. Like I wouldn't like let a dog like up in my bed ever, ever. like even my own dogs, unless they were literally like dying and I had like 1 day left, and then I would like, you know. But for a new dog coming in your house, you got to be willing to break up your routine as well and realize that it's not permanent. Here's what I mean by that. Well, let's say for instance your office is on the second floor and you need to do work in it. Well, bring bring your set it up downstairs so you can do work in it while the dog can at least see you, you know? And that's going to be real helpful for a lot of reasons because your dog needs to perceive your energy while you are concentrating and focused on your own thing, independent of paying attention to the dog, because that's going to train the dog to realize that like they they have to have a certain level of respect and patience when it comes to your attention, and that's going to help them when you need to like leave the house and leave them here because they're already used to feeling a comfortable state of mind while you're at a distance engaged in another mental focused activity. So bringing your office down and literally doing work and being on the phone and engaging with clients or whatever your job is or whatever you just are doing um, is going to be helpful for your dog to perceive that state of your energy while it's participating in it without being like the main event. Sometimes people, we get real excited about something for a little while and then we get bored of it and don't maintain that same whatever. And that like is just one way that people screw up their dogs because when they get the dog, it's new and they're like all about it and they like are feeding it all this energy, which is usually a mistake because they're just creating all this excitement with the dog, like they're treating it like a new toy, and it's whatever. But my point is it's a pretty consistent pattern. Even it's real obvious with a kid, but it's happens with adults too. Like you'll get a new dog and you'll be all about it, and waking up at the morning to take it for a walk is like, yay, it's new for you, so you're all stoked. And then 6 months go by and now it's winter and you don't feel like dealing with the same uh, outflow of energy that you've been used to doing with the dog. So now you start to get more short in your patience, and the same thing that the dog was doing before that was cute because you had this extra energy. Now it's like annoying. And it's because you didn't like establish like clear signals with the dog of how to truly relate to you in a consistent way. You come at the dog beginning with all this excitement and energy, and then that weans off, and you just can't maintain it. Same thing happens with relationships. Two people start dating, and it's like they got nothing better to do than just figure each other out and put all this energy into each other, and be like, "Oh, how was your day? Oh, blah 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 blah," and it's like, "Here's a sweet little note or whatever." All this romantic stuff, and then a couple years go by and you're like, dude, like I got I'm getting hammered at work, like I'm sorry I forgot to even say I love you, right? So you know how it is. So I'm trying to set you up in the beginning with your puppy so that you can be consistent from start to finish. And in the beginning, that will mean curbing some of your excitement that you want to share with the dog, meaning like be mature. Like, oh yeah, it is cute, but like you don't gotta like fawn over it and make a big deal about it. There's so much to say about this stuff. People, just one thing I'll say right away is like, always check your intentions and make sure you're doing stuff for the right reasons. Don't get a puppy so you can blow up your Instagram or because everybody's getting Frenchies and you want one. That's garbage, man. And the dog's gonna like friggin' make you pay for it. If you get a dog, like especially one of these like little French bulldogs that everybody loves to get, and doesn't realize that that dog is a friggin' like those are alpha little dogs, man. So like a lot of these people get one for like the wrong reasons, and they wind up, phew boy, that dog takes over. And then they're like, oh my god, like this dog like will like bite their kids and set all these bound like, oh, we can't do this around the dog or else it'll like it's so. But yeah, I mean, like our motives are rewarded. Like if you really get a dog to like add like, well, maybe you just like did a solid for the dog. Like, oh crap, you mean if no one's gonna take this dog, it's gonna get euthanized? Well, I'll take it. Maybe you did that. Maybe you got a dog because you really wanna have like a true companion that you like actually invest time and go together, share time and energy. Or maybe you have some young kids and you want to show them like how to be responsible with an animal and how to feel that love. She keeps trying to like make it like I have to put more and more effort into holding her here because I'm not paying enough attention to her. Cats are so funny. Come here, sweetheart. Sweetheart. She's a good girl. She's Lottie Dottie the cat. So anyway, the more that you can just like be consistent from the beginning and be mature and like set boundaries and like don't just be like, oh well, we'll let the dog sleep in the bed for the first week and then don't screw with the dog. Like show it how life is going to be in your house and then let it settle into that lane. Don't let it come in and do everything and then be like, well, this was just so that we could enjoy the dog. Now the dog has to like live outside or something ridiculous. I mean, I've known people that think like that. It's like, try and be fair to the dog. Like, let its circle expand from the center outwards. Don't like let it have everything and then like constrain it because that's not fair. So anyway, I have a video of how you want to encourage your dog to go potty outside by creating that association while you're outside. And in the inside, there's something I want to talk about that is a lot of people get wrong. They overdo it on one side or the other. Meaning, like, here's what I mean. We don't want to. You've heard me say maybe in some of my videos that we want to guide and teach a dog up to the point where it knows that it's making choice of what you want or what you don't want. And once a dog is capable through education, repetition, and just straight up teaching the dog how to choose what you do want and what you do not want. Up until that point, punishment is like, don't even think of that word. You do not punish a dog or a child or a employee that you're training when they do not know what they should be doing. Okay? Once the relationship, whether it's employment, raising a teenager, raising a dog, once the relationship evolves to the point where there's clear boundaries, clear expectations, and the dog knows that it shouldn't do this, and this is what it should do. Then you can start to consider punishment, but not in the way that a lot of traditional ways of punishing an animal would be thought of. There's different ways of punishing that are not, definitely not violent and definitely not traumatizing. Okay? Point being is it's our responsibility to figure out how to communicate unwanted behavior, meaning if when the dog does have an accident in your house, in this little area that you've created, part of the fair communication with your dog is to convey to them that you don't want that to happen, but it's not punitive. It's not like you get mad at the dog or punish the dog for it. So, what I'm going to try and do here is explain how to communicate. Like, how would I communicate with a puppy that just took a potty on the floor inside my house that I don't want that behavior without traumatizing the dog, and also making it as clear as possible to the dog that he doesn't want that behavior, but it's not personal. Like, I'm not mad at the dog. So, if the best thing to do is catch it in the act, see it in the act, and then you can say, oh, good potty. Like, you want to use the word potty to mark it, or if you're going to pick a different word, go ahead. But potty seems to work because it's like unique in its sound, and it's pretty universal. So you would say, oh, good potty, and then you would pick the dog up even while it's pottying, and this might sound weird, but scoot over to the door and put it outside where you want it to go and say, good potty, good potty. We're helping the dog right away learn, like, why did he do that, but it's not punishment to the dog. It might be a little weird for them to get moved while they're peeing, but that's okay. Or if you're not comfortable with doing that, it's no big deal. Just let it happen and then say potty, potty, but take the dog right outside to where you want it to go. And then say, do you have to, this is where we potty. You go potty more, and you can, like, rub your hands in the grass and let the dog smell your fingers, of just grass or whatever, to kind of get some association while it's still fresh. And then come back in, maybe play with the dog, and then come back in and clean up the potty. And you could say something like, potty outside, potty outside. Like, while you can, like, take the paper towel and let the dog sniff it and be like, potty outside. Like, we're educating the dog as to, like, trying to create an association between that specific thing and that space out there. And we're doing it by focusing on what we want to create, not by how upset we are at what happened. And this is why you set yourself up with this space that you're not worried if the dog potties on the floor. So that when you're cooking dinner or you come out of the shower and you notice that the dog pottied, you don't have to feel stressed about it so that you can communicate with your dog from a non stressed space. So it's like you're setting yourself up to be the best communicator as possible by avoiding situations that would stress you out. Like if you come out of the shower and you step in a pile of dog crap, well, that's going to like rattle anybody for at least a second, right? And what we don't want to do with our new dogs is give them any kind of reactionary vibe. Like, oh, we were, like, oh man, what the heck did the dog do? Like, where's like, we don't want to, we want to be like smooth, even, and always teaching. Like, they're going to be learning all the time. So, what are they learning? Are they learning that you are prone to reactive ups and downs? Because they will learn that and then they'll adjust their whole vibe accordingly. And then people will call me up and be like, why does my dog not listen? Because you're really all over the place and I wouldn't listen to you. Like, if a leader, whether you are a boss at the job, the head of a household, a parent, a dog owner, it's your responsibility to create boundaries. Like if you have 3 kids, you have to create the boundaries so that they're not constantly bickering like, oh, this is my. No, you don't mess with your brother's toys while he's playing with his toys. Those are his toys. And if you want to ask him to play with them, you have to ask him. You can't just come in and pick up your brother's stuff and start messing with it. And like, or in a office environment, same thing. Like, hey, we this printer is used in a sequential order. So if you need to use it for a large project, you need to notify your coworkers that for the next 15 minutes, please don't send anything up the quay or however you say that word, right? Like, I'm gonna be using this printer for 15 minutes. Please don't interrupt my flow. Like, it's up to the leader to create these frameworks so that the problems don't arise. So, like, when you are showing your dog right out of the gate that you're not reacting because you've already, like, thought about a boundary relative to this situation, well, immediately they're going to start to be able to relax. And that's the big thing that people don't get. You need your dog to be calm and feel that they can start to formulate pattern awareness as soon as possible. Because the more stable and consistent we are, and the dog knows that we're using marker words already, potty, like the dog's like taking a nap. The best time to teach a dog when you want it to go potty is to wake it up after it's been asleep for a little while, because once they wake up, within the next 15 minutes, usually they're going to potty. Like if a dog's been taking a nap for a couple hours. So what I'll do is like I'll let my dog be taking a nap, and then right before it wakes up, I'll come in and I'll be like, hey, I'll put the leash on. I'll be like, let's go potty, and I'll be like ready to act right away if it starts to potty, and then I'll take it outside and then I'll hang out with it until it potties. And when it does, I'll be like, it's a good dog. Yay, good potty. I'll provide all this enthusiastic reward without making it like go crazy and smile. Be like, good, really good job, you know? And then you can come back inside and here's some food, or here's a toy, or here's a treat. And you can condition the dog even when it doesn't have to go to the bathroom. Like after an hour went by, okay, like in this same chain of events, I would just take the dog outside again and be like, you had to go potty, you had to go potty, you had to go potty. We want to be creating what we want. So give the dog like an opportunity every half hour. On the first couple days, take the dog outside all the time. And every time you do, play with the dog and then take it over to the area and say, go potty, go potty. No, okay, here's a toy, here's a toy. And when you are outside and the dog does go potty, make a big deal out of it in a good way. Yay, potty outside. This is the good girl potty outside. Good potty outside. So that way, when the dog potties inside, you don't have to freak out about it to communicate with it. You don't have to be like, I'm mad or You can be like, we potty outside, outside, and you know. So if you do this the right way, with like really focusing on like, I'm gonna teach this dog, and I'm gonna set myself up so that when the dog makes mistakes, which are bound to happen, I'm not going to be stressed about it. I'm going to shift immediately into good communication with the dog. Dude, you're going to blow through this. The dog will get it that quick. And not only that, but you're already creating a framework architecture of how you communicate with this dog. So now you want to teach it not to pull on the leash. Well, you've already established like true communication with the dog. So not pulling on the leash is going to be easier. Not barking at the door is going to be easier. So I would personally like take the decision of getting a dog pretty seriously. Don't wait till some imaginary future date when you're going to have all this time in the world. But, you know, take a couple days off your job the first day. Like, take it serious. And you will just save yourself so much stress, uh, time, and money if you decide to actually train the dog for real, like, and then get yourself into a hole and now you have to pay a trainer to pull you out of the hole. Just start right from the beginning. There's enough resources on YouTube and like forums. Although be careful with the forums. If you can find somebody on YouTube that you have watched a few of their videos and you're like, this is making sense to me, well then try and learn as much as you can before you're actually having the problems. Like, don't be like typing in YouTube, how do I get my dog from stop biting my guests, right? If you're typing that into YouTube, there could be other reasons, but you probably because you've neglected some stuff that you know, if you had taken seriously from the beginning, you know, you wouldn't be even having these problems. So I think that's enough for today. Maybe there'll be a part 2 of this video, I don't know. But when you're getting a new puppy, take it serious. Set the dog up to succeed. You'll be glad you did. And the dog will be glad you did. So thanks for watching. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.